You ever feel just kind of numb? You know that feeling, right? Just floating through the days in this fog of cheap dopamine, endless scrolling. Well, today, we're going to dive into a pretty intense, ancient Japanese ritual that's designed to do one thing: shock your spirit back to life.
Wow. That hits pretty close to home, doesn't it? It's like a direct diagnosis for a problem so many of us are facing right now. And here's the core idea. You can't just think your way out of this state. You can't just wish it away. You need something more visceral, something way more powerful. You need a shock to the system.
So, to really get how this works, let's dive into the story of a guy named Jaden. Honestly, he's the perfect example of someone who is completely trapped in this modern digital prison. And his journey out? Well, that's what this is all about.
I mean, look at this. At just 18 years old, Jaden was at absolute rock bottom. This isn't just a list of, bad habits. This is a total collapse of his well-being. The constant brain fog, the crushing anxiety, the shame. He just felt weak, and he knew something had to change, like yesterday.
So where does this turnaround begin? Probably not where you'd expect, a karate dojo. And it's there that he meets Sensei Machida, a mentor who knew that just giving advice was cheap. He was going to give Jaden a real system for transformation.
And here's what makes this so powerful. The sensei wasn't some guru on a high horse judging from above. No, his wisdom, it was forged in his own fire. He'd been through his own battle with a crippling gambling addiction. He got it. He understood Jaden's struggle because he had lived it himself.
Okay, so the sensei starts by introducing Jaden to this core concept called Misogi. It's a Shinto practice, a ritual of purification. And yeah, if you're picturing monks standing under a freezing waterfall, you're on the right track. It's an intense physical act meant for spiritual cleansing.
But here's the key thing to get. The whole point isn't just to torture yourself with cold water, right? It is a deliberate, powerful shock designed to jolt a sleeping spirit awake. Think of it like a spiritual defibrillator. Or yeah, a powerful alarm clock for your soul.
So if Misogi is the tool, what's the endgame? Well, it's something called Kishi Kaisei, and this is just an incredible phrase. It literally means wake from death and return to life. I mean, how powerful is that? We're not talking about small tweaks here. We're talking about a total rebirth.
And like we said, talk is cheap. Sensei Machida knew that. He knew Jaden didn't need another lecture or some vague self-help advice. He needed a system, something real, something concrete, something he could actually do every single day. And here it is. The whole thing is built on this three-pillar system. You've got Kaizen for the small daily wins, Misogi for that physical shock to break the pattern, and Shugyo for redirecting all that destructive energy. So let's break down exactly what Jaden did for each one. Okay, pillar number 1, Kaizen. You might have heard of this one. It's all about continuous, small improvements. But the secret sauce here, you have to start with something so ridiculously simple that it's actually harder to make an excuse than to just do it. So what was it for Jaden? 10 push-ups. That's it. But the rule was absolute. The second his eyes opened, boom, 10 push-ups. Before the hand could reach for the phone. That small act of discipline was the first win of the day. No excuses, no exceptions.
All right, pillar 2, Misogi. This was Jaden's secret weapon, his emergency brake. You know that moment when the urge hits to scroll or watch porn, when that old addictive pattern starts looping in your brain? He now had a tool to smash it. And that weapon was 3 minutes in an ice-cold shower. It's so brilliant because it proves you can't think your way out of a craving. Your mind is compromised in that moment, but you can shock your body out of it. That intense physical jolt just completely short-circuits the mental loop.
And that brings us to the third pillar, Shugyo. This is some real alchemy right here. It's about taking all that restless, anxious, destructive energy that was fueling his addiction and transforming it, turning it into something powerful and constructive.
So for Jaden, instead of letting that energy just bubble up and lead him back to his phone, he took it to the dojo. He poured all of it into his karate training. Every punch, every kick. He was literally turning his poison into power, building actual strength instead of just building up more shame.
But look, let's be real. This stuff is never a straight line, right? It's not some movie montage where everything's perfect. Jaden stumbled. He relapsed. And that's the moment of truth, isn't it? That's the moment where most people just give up and spiral.
But the sensei had given him one more crucial tool for exactly this moment, a beautiful concept called Nanakorobi Yaoki.
What does it mean? It is the ultimate principle of resilience. Fall down 7 times, get up 8. And the key, the absolute most important part, is what you do when you fall. You don't beat yourself up. You don't wallow in the failure. You just get back up. Restart the system immediately. That 8th time you get up, that's what defines you.
And that's exactly what Jaden did. He got back up. And just look at the payoff. Look at his Kishi Kaisei, his rebirth. The weak self on one side, the reborn self on the other. Brain fog and shame, gone. Replaced by mental clarity and pride. Social anxiety, transformed into real relationships. And those failing grades, he got accepted to college.
You see, this was way bigger than just changing a few bad habits. He fundamentally rewired his entire brain. And maybe the most powerful change of all, he regained his eyes. He could finally look people directly in the face, completely free from that crippling shame that had held him down for so long.
So when you boil it all down, what's the core lesson from Jaden's entire journey? It's simple, and it's kind of brutal. You cannot reason or negotiate with your addiction. You can't bargain with that weak self. You have to replace it completely.
You replace that easy, cheap dopamine from a screen with the hard-won, real dopamine that comes from effort and discipline. You replace the mindless scroll with the mindful shock of reality. You have to embrace the cold to kill the weakness.
And that brings it all back to us, doesn't it? This isn't just a cool story about some guy named Jaden. It's a blueprint. It's a system. So the real question, the one that matters right now is, what weak self will you kill today?